online parent engagement hub for families of kids with disabilities. The presenters will be Christina Kozik and Julie McKinney. And if I pronounced either name incorrectly, please correct me. They are with Exceptional Lives, and you can read the description for this session and their bios on pages 14 and 15 of the conference booklet, which is linked in the chat. So Julie and Christina, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Alicia. So thank you so much to the Governor's Office on Disability Affairs. This is a great conference that we've been part of for a few, we've seen it for a few years, and we're really happy to be presenting today for Exceptional Lives. I'm Julie. I am a white woman in my 50s with short brownish hair, wearing a blue top and blue glasses that don't quite match each other, but hopefully that's okay. So for those of you who are not seeing the screen now, Christina, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Christina Kozik. I am a Latinx woman in my 30s. I have long brown hair, and I am wearing a maroon colored top, and we're just really excited to be here with you guys today.
Yeah, and I forgot to say, so we both work for Exceptional Lives, and I am the Director of Product Content and Health Literacy. So part of what I do is to make sure the information on our website is really easy to understand and navigate. And Christina?
Yeah, so I'm the Community Engagement Specialist with Exceptional Lives. And my title kind of says it all. I engage the community, and I do that in a couple of different ways. I do that by going out and meeting providers and families in person, presenting at conferences like this, as well as some kind of behind the scenes engagement, helping our social media people, and helping with content creation, as well as hosting the podcast that we have called Just Needs.
So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to tell you about Exceptional Lives, and then we're going to take you on a little tour through the site. I don't know if how many of you I've heard about Exceptional Lives before, but we've been operating in Louisiana for 6 years. We launched our website in 2017 that covers the whole state of Louisiana, and we'll show you what that covers. So Exceptional Lives is we've just recently redone our website. So for those of you who have been to our website before and seen our resources, it's going to look a little different now. We've updated it, and we're really excited to sort of roll out the new website. It has all the same information it used to have, but it's organized a little differently, and we'll go over that. But what it is, it's a family engagement hub, and it has all kinds of support for parents, mostly for parents of kids and young adults with disability. We have a few things for adults with disabilities themselves, but most of our information is geared towards parents and caregivers and guardians who are caring for kids with disabilities. So what we do is, let me just just quickly, we're going to talk about first why it's important for parents to have information and to have guidance to know what to do to get resources and services for their children with disabilities. So what we do is we help people through systems, and we help them find services and help support them emotionally through interactions and content made by other parents. So let's see. So the problem is, I mean, I'm sure many of you have been in this situation, and Christina and I will tell you a little bit about our own situations. But if you're a parent of a kid with a disability, especially in the beginning, when you're not quite sure what's wrong, you're not quite sure how to help them, or what's wrong, or what kind of support they need, it's hard to find the information. They often don't know about what are the services to help them, and if their child qualifies. The application process for a lot of government benefits is really complicated, and you go to the website and it's really complicated too. And plus, you go online, you Google whatever it is, and there's so much information. You have to sift through it. Which of this applies to me? Which of this is going to be helpful? And in the meantime, families, you're tired. We know, we've been there. When you're looking for information for your child, you're usually sleep deprived, you're very emotional, very stressed. And so when you do that, and you come up on information on government websites or the school websites, it's going to be that much harder to understand it and really follow the advice if it's not really easy to read. So that's our goal, is to provide resources and support to families that's easy to find, easy to sift through, and easy to understand. I know this. So I have a child with a disability who's actually 24 now, hard to believe. And when he was little, it made a huge difference that we got directly connected to early intervention and special education, and he got other government services, and we have SSI. So, getting him connected with those services right away, early on, made a huge difference in helping him his development over his lifetime. So we're trying to help other parents to find those resources as soon as possible. And Christina has a slightly different story, which you can tell them about.
Yeah. So my son is going to be 9 in September. He's going into 4th grade. And when he was about 3 years old, we started noticing that he had some very challenging behaviors. And he was being, repeatedly disciplined at the different daycares we would go to. And then we would have to remove him from a daycare. And nobody was able to kind of tell us anything or point us in a direction. We went to the pediatrician and we said, hey, we have some concerns. And he, was very helpful and suggested we see a behavioral pediatrician, but she had a wait list of 6 months. And so all in all, we spent about 18 months in just survival mode, just trying to make it day to day. We didn't know where to go, who to turn to. We didn't even know what questions to ask the pediatrician to kind of point us in a direction. And so it wasn't until somebody finally suggested child search, because by that time he was 4 years old, or about to be 4 years old, and he was too old for early intervention, that we were able to get him in and get him evaluated. And I always share, at our very first IEP meeting with the school system, the private preschool he was at, told us that they were going to ask us not to come back. And so we were scrambling then, trying to figure out what was our next step going to be. Luckily, the school system was there and they said, we have a spot for him. We were able to get him into public pre-K, and he went into a blended class, and that started our next chapter in our journey, which was going through the public school system. And while we were happy to have him there and we were happy to see him flourishing, there was still so much that I didn't know, that I had to learn. And again, wasn't quite sure what questions to ask or where to go. And so having a resource like Exceptional Lives 4 years ago would have been a huge blessing to us, just to know what to expect, what these terms meant, and what our next steps were supposed to be. So now I want to explain, why we kind of do the work that we do. So not only are we living this work, as the majority of the staff members here at Exceptional Lives have a child with a disability at all stages of life, we know that supporting the whole child is very important. We know that families of children with disabilities struggle to find the supports that they need. And the research also shows us that BIPOC families and low-income families are less likely to access the resources and to get the support services that they need for their children. So our goal at Exceptional Lives is to bridge that gap so that way all families have access to resources and get the supports that they need. And so we know that especially children with disabilities, need medical care. Sometimes they need government benefits. And we also know that they, as well as parents and caregivers, need social support. And then there's also an education part, not just education for the child going into school system, but education for the parents and the caregivers. What do these systems look like? What is the process supposed to be? What are the timelines? What are my rights? What are the questions to ask? And so we want to make sure that we, like I said, are kind of standing in that gap to be able to provide these resources to our families so that way they can make informed decisions for their families and for their children. And all of these resources that we have on our website, they're directed for families, but these are ready references that you are able to share with families that you service. So whether you're a SPED teacher or a general ed teacher, or you're working in early childhood, or you're in a therapist office or a mental health professional, a doctor, all of these resources are there for you to just share with your families. So what kind of services do we offer?
So there's a few different kinds of services we offer. We're going to tell you about them a little bit, and then we're going to show you on the website how to find them and what they look like. So the first type is to learn more about the services for your child and how to get them. So we have sort of step-by-step how-to guidance on, for example, how to apply for SSI, how to what services you can get from the Office for Citizens with Developmental Disabilities, OCDD. We have how to navigate the special education system, what to do in the beginning, how to monitor services as you go through. All kinds of those complicated processes we break down and just tell you what to do and at what time. So and we also have like all of the contact information numbers and the types of people to call. So we have information that's specialized to the state of Louisiana. So we can talk about certain Louisiana only things like the April Dunn Act, or how their Medicaid Waivers system works, things like that. And just to connect it again, as Christina was saying about how we've lived this. So I've written a lot of the how-to guidance for the different topics, and I've been able to draw on my experience of going through all of those processes with my son. So so it's coming from a place of understanding, and we hope compassion, and we're trying to make it practical and easy for you to follow the steps you need to get these services. We also have a Disability Services Finder so that you can find local providers and services. We'll tell you about that. You search by zip code, and there's almost 1,000 services listed in the state of Louisiana. Perspectives for Parents, we have blogs and podcasts. by parent, and also some family interviews on video that give you the perspective of parents, and they have tips and also just sort of emotional support. We want to make people feel that they're not doing this alone. And that's why we also want to make sure that we can help people connect with other families on social media. So Christina will tell you about that in a little bit later. So just quickly about the types of resources again. So we have, this is part of our new organization. We have hub pages that are organized by topic. So you see the topics here that we cover, and there's a hub page on each of these. So there's one all about autism, there's early childhood development, special ed, transition to adulthood, during the high school, middle school, and high school years. We talk about health insurance, reading and literacy, and then SSI and other financial benefits that you can get from the government. And each of these hubs, as you'll see, it includes frequently asked questions, and we have the step-by-step guidance that I talked about, and then blogs that relate to that topic and podcasts. And then we also have terms and acronyms explained for these topics. We have a glossary that we'll show you. So this is sort of our sort of factual and support information that's organized by topic. Yeah, and as I said, we make a point to have all of our information written in plain language. My background is health literacy, which is all about making complicated health information easy to understand. So that's what we're trying to do with the disability guidance information on our site. And we wanted to make sure that it's available to parents all the time, because we know that a lot of times our website gets a lot of its hits between like 10 at night and 1 in the morning. So we know that you're up late searching for resources. So we want it to be available. One thing that we've made a big point to look at is that our website is now mobile friendly. So if you have a cell phone, we know that there's some connectivity issues in different parts of the state. And so we just want to make sure people know that if you have a phone and you have a smartphone with service, you can get all of our resources, and they're designed to be easy to use on mobile. Disabilities Services Finder will show you that you can search by zip code for different types of services and programs. One of the things about this is that it's constantly reviewed. So we go through all of the resources regularly to make sure they're updated. That's the benefit of an online dynamic resource. So we make sure that if a center is closed or a new one is opened or one has changed the services they offer, that we update it as quickly as possible. This is also available in Spanish, as are all of our blogs and a lot of our how-to guidance as well. We'll show you that. Yeah, Christina, why don't you take over from this point?
Yeah, absolutely. So another part that we have here is our perspectives for parents. And so that covers our blogs and our podcasts. So all of our blogs have been written by either a member of our team that kind of has some experience with the blog that they're writing, or we get guest blog writers to kind of come in and write some stuff for us. And so we have a range of categories. The categories are kind of similar to the hub topics, but we have blogs around, tax questions, government benefits, and also just how to advocate for your child. Or one of my favorite blog pieces is, my child has a disability and I don't. How do I find role models for them? So we have, some blog pieces that are very informative, that give you a lot of information. And then we also have some that just remind you, you're not alone. We're either here with you or we've been through it, and we're able to relate and help kind of point you in the direction you need to go. And then we also have our video interviews, which are done by the lovely Sydney on our team has really worked with finding families from all over the country, from all walks of life, with all kinds of disabilities. And she's interviewed with them and talked to them. And we have those up on our website as well. These are definitely here as parent support. So you can see kind of what other people are going through, what's worked for them, maybe what hasn't worked for them. I've had the privilege of listening to almost all of these, and I find a little kernel of sameness in all of them, even though these are people from all walks of life. So it feels very good to know that there's other families out there that are going through the same things that we may be struggling with, and having the same triumphs that we may be having as well.
And one of the things that we try to emphasize in all of the resources that we put out is to try to find the positive pieces. We know that it's hard to raise a child with a disability. We know there's a lot of challenges and barriers, and we acknowledge that, and we help people through it. But we also try to make sure that people don't think it's a disaster.
Right.
And that it's, children with differences, adults with differences, it's just a different way of supporting them through life. And so we try to make sure that people understand that there's, there's joys involved in this as well. So
Yes.
Let you get back to it, Christina.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so then the last thing that we have here that helps us kind of connect with our families is the Just Needs podcast. And so I'm the host of that. It started out as taking some of our existing blog pieces and turning them into audio content. I am a very avid podcast listener. And so I wanted to, and I know a lot of other people are as well. And so I wanted to get our information in a way that our families could consume it without feeling like they had to stop and read something. All of our podcasts are topics that we have covered before, and we have some new topics, but they're also very short. So we started doing interviews earlier this year, and even the interviews are only about 20 minutes. So the average podcast is about 10 minutes. And so we're able to get this information to you in a way that allows you to be able to listen to it while you're on the go and get the information you need. And then we put all of our references, anything that we may talk about, in our show notes, so that way you can go and find the information and read up more or get more information on whatever it was that you heard. And so we're on all major podcast platforms. And so we're really excited about that.
And Christina's a great host.
Thank you.
For you to try one. Okay, so we're just gonna take a little tour of the website and show you what we have, but we do hope that you'll take a little time yourself after this session, after the workday, to just take a look and see what our site has that can help you, either as a professional who are guiding families or as a family who's caring for a child with disability. So I'm just going to switch over to this. Does that work? Can everyone see the web page now? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. So this is our homepage. You could also go to the Louisiana homepage. It leads to the same information, but this leads to some of our Louisiana only content. And it also, we've just rolled this out. So there's a few things that we're still adjusting on the website. After a little while, this will also lead you, when you go to like an article about special ed, say, it'll have all of the Louisiana specific information in that if you go from this page. So So yeah, there's all of these things, but what I want to do is show you the some of the hubs. Okay, so I'm going to go to the transition to adulthood hub. And so on this page, there is there's all kinds of information. So there's an introduction that says, okay, this is what we have for you. And then we have all these articles that have the step-by-step guidance. Okay, so it's, you know, transition planning, what are transition assessments about, how to connect with social services, what if you're preparing for college or a career or job right out of high school. And then also we have a section on caring for a child with severe disabilities. So if your child needs to really work more on life skills than academics, for example, and that path and the support needed is a little different. So we have some specific guidance about that. You know, when your child turns 18, there's a bunch of things, advocacy, there's all kinds of guidance here. And I'll just show you what one of the articles looks like. So it's, you know, they're short, they're informative. We try to make them easy to navigate through and to understand. They all have links to other resources. They have links to like glossary definitions. So like if you see idea, that's not working. Transition planning. I think my computer is just slow. So it can lead you to another article about that topic if you click on it. And then at the bottom of each article, there are ways to learn more. So that's one of the pieces on this. So we're still on this transition to adulthood hub. If we keep going, here are some terms and acronyms that you can learn. And then there's also a timeline here. So this is something in the focus groups we did, people really wanted timelines. So we actually have a timeline for adult transition from school into adult life. And we also have a timeline for early childhood, you know, for when your child is born or when they get a diagnosis to, you know, going through early steps, finding the diagnosis, and then how to transition into the school system and school services between ages 3 and 5. So we have these two timelines that our focus groups suggested. And that's another thing that we meant to mention before is that all of our factual information gets reviewed by parents, by the department so that oversees it. So for example, special education or Medicaid, we vet it through the department that is in charge of it, so we can make sure our information is accurate. But we also vet it with parents, and with parent support people like Families Helping Families, staff, and people who also support lots of families. We vet it through them to make sure that it's easy to understand and that it includes the right pieces of information that families need. So we have a pretty robust process for making sure that our information is working for people. So this is the timeline. And then I also wanted to show you the Special Education Glossary. There we go. And we have some terms, and we have an easy to read definition. And then for some of them, we have a short video that explains the term. I'm just going to play a few seconds of it to get it then. Okay, just wanted to give you a little taste of those glossary videos. What else? I just want to see what else we're going to tell you. So again, that's what the hub pages look like. And these are the different topics that you can find. So hopefully you guys can go through this yourself and take a look and see what kinds of things, and see, like, if you're a professional working with families, see what kinds of questions do you get, what do families ask you about most. If you can sort of have a sense of what you can find on here that will help them, then you can send it to them, send them the link, or show them how to find it, and it can make your referral process easier, we hope. We've talked to people like from Families Helping Families, for example, who say, if I'm meeting with a family and talking about special education, say, sometimes I'll ask them to go to Exceptional Lives and read about special education on there, and then they have sort of a background, and then that frees up my time with them to talk about their particular issues and their own child. So we're hoping that this can help other professionals who support families to use this as a background information, so that you can use your time with them more efficiently. So let's see, Christina, why don't we turn it to you, and you just tell me what to click on?
Yeah, sure. So we also have a lot of resources in Spanish. So right up on the top, you'll see it says Espanol, and we have blogs as well as our Disability Services Finder. And then we have our glossary terms in Spanish. So we are aware that not everything is in Spanish yet. And we're also aware that there's other languages, especially in Louisiana, that are being spoken, but this is the one that we found needed. Spanish was the one that we found families needed the most help with in getting resources in Spanish. So we have that, and we are consistently working on updating and adding more and more to that tab, if you will, to our Spanish resources. So with
and actually very soon, all the articles on the Special Education Hub will be in Spanish as well.
Perfect, great. And so, to kind of segue from that, we also have a live chat option, and our team member that does all of our Spanish speaking also is available. So if we need to, respond to a family that has questions in Spanish, we can do that. And so our live chat is manned by our team. So you're actually getting a live person. It's not a robot. And you can ask questions. We get questions. We get a lot of questions from Louisiana, but we do get questions from other states. And so we do our best to point our families wherever they're at to a local resource or something that they may be able to use. Sometimes we can give them kind of broad information, and that's what they need, and they're happy with that. But sometimes they do need more specific information, and we try to help them find that. So that way, we're not just telling them, sorry, we don't have resources in your state. We definitely try to help them.
And just quickly, you see this popped up on my screen. It populated my name and email just because I've tested the chat before. It won't come up automatically when you do it from your computer for the first time, and you can bypass that part. It's optional to put your name and email. It's just so we can email you back if we find other stuff, but you can bypass that.
Yep. And then we also have an 800 number, and we have a general email, which is info@exceptionallives.org.
You can find it all at the bottom.
Yep, all at the bottom. And so we have multiple ways for you to get in touch with somebody if you do have like a question, or hey, I'm looking for this specific answer. What do I do? Or where do I go? And so we're always happy to help. And then next we have our Disability Services Finder, which is under our provider search tab. So Julie briefly kind of showed or explained what this is, but what this is we have resources from all over the state. If there's a resource that services families of children with disabilities, we want to know what it is, and we want to put it in the system. And so what we do is we work with, we have a team that goes through this information, So if I'm out at an event and I meet somebody and they said, oh, this is what we do, I can take their information, I can give it to our team, and we can put it into our system. We have lots of, I'm trying to think of what they're called, like subcategories to look at. So it's not just, pediatricians or physical therapists. We also have, art and music therapy. We have peer support groups, all different kinds of information based on some kind of broad categories like social, recreational activities, as well as adult programs and services. So we have all of your normal kind of government benefits that are going to be listed. So if you can't remember what the Human Service Authority is called in your area, you can go to our website. We have all that information. And then we're constantly making sure that the information is updated, and we're constantly making sure that as we get new people, we're kind of talking to them, making sure that they serve our community and our families, and we can go ahead and list them. And then last but not least, I'll let Julie kind of scroll. Julie, do you mind scrolling down on the page?
Oh, whoops, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, scrolling down on this page or
Yep.
the home page.
Yep. So you can kind of see when you type in a zip code, there's so many different things that pop up. And so you can look within 5 miles, 10 miles, or you can look statewide. I have found that this is really beneficial when we have families that have to relocate due to natural disasters, or for our families that are in rural areas that may not have immediate access to certain things. They can type in a zip code and kind of broaden their search and find what is in the area. We do know and understand that a good portion of Louisiana is rural, and there's just not services there. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that the services that are nearby and that service these areas are listed so our families can find them.
You can also narrow a search down to just those providers who accept Mass Health. So if you're looking for a service like, occupational therapy, say, or diagnostic evaluations, that is a medical thing that might accept Mass Health. And if you click on that, that will narrow the results down to just those. So you don't have to keep calling.
Right. And so Mass Health is a Medicaid in Massachusetts. So we do need to, I just noticed that. So we
I did too. Yeah.
We do need to get that updated. So it says Medicaid, but that would be the spot you would want to click if you were looking for services that were that accept Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So last but not least is our podcast. I briefly explained kind of what it is, what we're trying to do there. But I want to just kind of show you real quick our episodes. And so every week or every about 2 weeks, a couple of times a month, we update our podcast. And so we have all of our information there. You can go through our backlog either on our website or on the podcast platform that you use. All of our episodes, if you click on them, the web page will open and you'll see, Julie, if you'll click on one of those episodes, if you scroll down, you'll see all of the different links that, I talk about in an episode. So some of our episodes have a lot more information than others, but if there's information that I discuss and I want to link you to it, it's going to be right there in the show notes. So we're working on putting that information directly on our website as well. But I say directly on our website, but directly with that podcast episode. I think that's our website.
Yeah. Okay. One other thing, just since I expect that we have a lot of providers who are listening, but if you look in our resource directory and you don't find your own organization and you think it should qualify, then just get in touch with us, because we would like to know about whatever services are available throughout the state that we don't have listed. We're trying to be as complete as we can, but we know there's new ones and there's ones that have slipped our notice. So please get in touch if you are not listed and you would like to be. So like I said, I hope you can explore the site a little bit on your own, and we love feedback. So even if it's critical feedback, we're always trying to make this better. So please, if you have any comments or any questions, or there's some content that you think would be useful to families that we don't have, please get in touch with us. We love hearing from you and following the needs of the community.
And then kind of last but not least is our social media. So we're on all the social media platforms. Well, most of the social media platforms, let me say that, because there's so many nowadays. But we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Exceptional Lives. LinkedIn, search for Exceptional Lives. And then we also have a Facebook group for Louisiana. And so in that group, people share events, people share, different things that are going on at the legislative level. And it's also a place where parents can ask questions, look for recommendations, things like that. And it's moderated. So that way it's a safe space that parents can feel comfortable to ask questions. And then we have a lovely QR code here that you can scan. So this is a way for you to sign up with our newsletter. When you go there, you can just input your email, sign up for the newsletter. There is a couple other questions. So if you would like for us to send flyers or posters, if you want to, have us do a presentation to your staff or to your parent group, or have a link from our website, have a link to our website on yours, there's a spot where you can select any of those. And so we would love for you to sign up for our newsletter. We would love for you to share us with your email list or share us on social media. And if you are not sure how to do that, please reach out and we're more than happy to come up with something for you to share on our behalf. And we'll leave that up for just a few more seconds so that way people can scan that. But I think at this point we can ask questions.
Yeah, and what we're really hoping to do now, we know that there's so many families out there who need this kind of support, who don't know where to find it, or maybe they've connected with one of your organizations and you're helping them with one piece, but there's all of these other pieces that they need help with. So we hope that we can act as sort of a one-stop shop that you can refer your clients to, or if you're a family, you can come and see what we have, or refer or tell other families about us. We just want to, I feel like a salesman, but it's all free, so it's not really selling, but I always feel strange pushing like this, but we know that people need help, and we're just hoping that we can get this information out to more people who need it.
And so I want to answer a couple of questions that I see here in the Q&A real quick. Mm-hmm. So Mark has he says he's a one-pager kind of guy, and he wants to know if we offer that. We do. So most of our flyers or our information that we can send to you is a one-page, or it's like a English on one side, Spanish on the other type of thing. So Mark, I got your email and I'm more than happy to connect with you and send those. And then someone also asked about navigating the site, and it looks like it's populating some blank outs and they're on an iPad. So our website is set to be mobile first. So it's set to be easily accessible on a smartphone or a tablet device. So I'm not sure about what you might be seeing, but I will definitely pass that on to our tech people, so that way they can kind of look at that and make sure everything's running the way it's supposed to be running. Like we said, this is a newer website that we just launched about 2 weeks ago. And so if there's kinks, we like to know about them so we can fix them and you know, make it a great user experience for everybody.
Thanks for finding the questions, Christina.
No problem.
All right, do we have any more?
So I do have one here, and I don't know the answer to this one because I don't create the content explicitly. So I'll pass this to Julie. It says, what helping family centers have you gone to vet your resources?
Oh, we've mostly the one, the Greater Baton Rouge. When we first started out in 2016, 17, when we were creating the hub for Louisiana, we worked pretty closely with Families Helping Families of Greater Baton Rouge. They gathered some people for focus groups for us, and we also had the staff there vet some things, so they were very helpful. And then we've reached out to others. We've met with many of them, and so we've been in touch with many, but it's mostly the Greater Baton Rouge one that that did a lot of help with us for vetting the information and finding focus groups.
Julie, this is Bambi. Just to add on to that, I really love that the example that you gave around it being a tool for our Families Helping Families resource centers, because they are the ones that are meeting with people, person to person, and they're getting that background knowledge from your website. So is there opportunities? Do you see that there's opportunities for there to be more collaboration on how do we best use our resources, which we know we don't have enough to support everyone, but how do you see that that type of collaboration with not just Families Helping Families, but our other disability resource organizations in the state?
Yeah, thank you for asking that, Bambi, because that is something that we really want to do well. And we want to make sure that other disability resource organizations don't feel like we're competing or taking their clients, because like you said, there's so much need out there and so many families need help. And we hope that other resource organizations can see us as a tool to help them do their job and support more families. So if you're an organization that people come to and you give them references and advice and help them through processes, talk to us, like reach out to us and say, hey, can you guys speak to our staff so we can know how to find things that our clients are asking for, or flyers to hand out so people can, read up on the topic on your site before we meet with them, like I said. So we'd like you to get in touch with us and tell us how we can help you, because that's what we're trying to do, is to give you more references to help your families. And of course, there's there's the in-person one-on-one support, like in the local area, that we know is invaluable. So that is your territory. And but whatever we can do to help expand the support for your families or make your work easier, that's what we hope to do. So I would say just get in touch with us, and we can talk about how we can.
And I can give some quick examples real quick, because I know we're just at about time, but I could give some quick examples of some of the ways that we've helped some of the other organizations. Families Helping Families in the Lake Charles area had a kind of a conference, like a resource information conference, and we were there as kind of one of the resources for their families. We've provided flyers to go in, like back to school things, or any kind of holiday stuff that maybe one of the local Families Helping Families has done. And then also, if they have parent groups or peer groups, we've been able to go and present at those and kind of just let parents know, we have this broad information, and Families Helping Families is able to provide that very nuanced local information.
Just quickly, I see James asked about if our apps are designed to be used by a blind or disabled person who does not use a smartphone. So if they're not actually apps that you download, it's a website that just sort of acts the same way. But they're all designed to be accessible for screen readers and other accessibility features. So we do think that it should be suitable for people using screen readers and other disabilities that affect their website reading.
Thank you, Christina and Julie, for such an informative first session. We appreciate you all. The next session on Louisiana's Digital Equity Plan will begin at 10:10. You're welcome to remain logged on during the break.
Thank you so much.